Everyone give it up for your great host, Bob DeBono. Although he forgot to mention all the TV shows I've been on and all the comedy clubs I performed at all over New York City. I performed at Stand Up New York. Anyway, we're allowed to curse on stage, right? Yeah. So, I don't want to get my So this is probably going to shock a lot of people, especially since I'm an Orthodox Jew, but I'm actually an accountant. What are the odds? It was a rhetorical question. It's like 1 in 3. So I recently got a tax notice from the IRS. It didn't say anything about what all it said was call us when there's an issue with your prior year return. So I called them, and I don't know if you know, but the IRS has had huge budget cuts, so it's impossible to even get through to them. I'm on hold for an hour and a half. Finally, someone answers the phone. Hi, this is Linda, agent ID 175. Is there anything I can help you with? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I was just calling because my iPod broke. I just want to listen to the music you guys play in the background while I was waiting. She's like, oh, sorry about that. We're experiencing a heavy call volume. She's like, what's the problem? I'm like, I got a notice. She's like, what's your name? I'm like, Oren Glass. She's like, okay, let me pull up your records. I'm like, listen, Linda, don't fuck this up. I'm recording this call for quality assurance. So she says, yeah, the issue seems to be, it showed on page 1 of your return, your income was over $100,000. I'm like, yes, so what? On page 2, though, it said you're a stand-up comedian. Yeah, so she's like, that's not possible. I'm like, have you seen me perform? She's like, yes, I actually have. I was at your last performance in November, hence the notice. So she's like, how do you explain this? I'm like, well, actually, I'm a full-time accountant. She's like, oh, that makes sense. I'm sorry to disturb you. We'll close out this notice immediately. Just so you know, stand-up comedy is a much more stable career than accounting. So, what's everyone's favorite holiday? Halloween. So mine actually used to be Halloween, even though I'm Jewish. I never understood on Halloween, all these kids go door to door asking the same question. And they always get the same answer, and they only want one answer. So why even ask the question? Well, I'll tell you why. When I was a little kid growing up, I was going door to door. I knocked on this one guy's door. He answered the door. This guy was balding, in his 50s, wearing a wife beater, potato chip crumbs all over his stomach. I'm like, trick or treat. He's like, trick, I'm a pedophile. Get the fuck in here. The way he got me, he said he had some candy that sounded kind of good. I'm like, what's it called? He's like, chloroform. So this past year, I actually was trick-or-treating in Washington, D.C. I wasn't really, it's just for my routine. And I knocked on the White House door, and Obama himself answered the door. I'm like, trick or treat. He's like, trick, you can't keep your health care plan. So, has anyone here tried online dating? That wants to admit it? Yeah. So, a lot of girls are hesitant to meet guys off online dating sites. It's understandable. There's a lot of creepy guys out there. So to ease their fears, I tell them that a recent survey showed that 10% of all marriages in the U.S. last year were due at least in some part to online dating sites.
We just got married and we met on dating.
So you're part of the 10%, I guess. They're like, oh, Oren, that's great. I didn't know that. I don't tell them they're also responsible for nearly 50% of all missing persons cases. But they don't need to know. If I call them after the day and they don't respond, maybe they get 51%. I'm just kidding. No. So, it's been obviously very upsetting, everything that's happening in Baltimore over the last couple weeks. The police have been in the news a lot for all the wrong reasons. I'll be honest, I don't think the police are racist. I think it's just all a misinterpretation. Because I was in Baltimore last week. I really was. It's not for my routine. And I was passing by a police car, and over the radio, the dispatcher says, 10-4, we got a suspect wanted for blackmail. And the police officer responds, 10-4 copy, suspect is a black male. So, I don't know, did everyone hear that the Orioles last week played a game that was closed to the public? No fans were allowed? Well, apparently not everyone got the memo because NBC anchor Brian Williams said he was there cheering with 40,000 fans. So now he's going to be permanently suspended. Did anyone here watch the Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight?
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt it was kind of a letdown. Floyd Mayweather kind of kicked the crap out of him. It was so one-sided. I haven't seen a fight that one-sided since that black mother beat her son in the Baltimore riots. Yeah, that one actually did well in rehearsals. So now I'm going to talk about a topic everyone usually likes to discuss, death. So I was always wondering, is it supposed to make it okay when you're about to tell someone a close relative just died, to make sure they're sitting down first before you give them the news? And if they're sitting down first, they'll be okay with the news no matter what? Hey, David, are you sitting down? Yeah. Your brother was murdered last night. Okay. Are you alright? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, I'm sitting down. If I was standing up, it would have been pretty tragic, so thanks for the heads up. But what if you forget to warn him? David, your brother was murdered last night. Fucking A, if only I was sitting down! So I'm sure everyone here can relate to riding the subway here. I don't like their slogan. The correct slogan should be, if you see something, keep it to yourself. If you tell an MTA employee, they won't know what the fuck to do. One thing that bothers me is when you try to get out of the train, but people try to rush onto the train before you can get off. And it's like a game, you gotta get out in time. But then, when everyone gets out of the train, when they get to the stairs leading out of the station, it looks like they're looking up at fucking Mount Everest. If you want to help them out, maybe give them rope, oxygen masks, gloves. But for some of these people I noticed, it doesn't even matter, they're so fat. They take up 2 seats on the train. Excuse me, did you swipe your MetroCard twice? No, I don't think so, so get the fuck up! What was that? No, don't complain to me about the airlines wanting to start charging for 2 seats. You get 2 meals with that as well. So I was actually flying back to New York recently from a friend's house in Atlanta, and they decided to search me more in depth, because Jews are notorious for blowing up airplanes. And the screener was wearing, he was wearing a uniform and he had gloves, but I felt like he was going overboard. He was putting his hand down my pants. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, do you work here? He laughed. No, I'm kidding. He actually said, oh shit, I think they're on to me, and he ran away. Then I'm like, oh shit, I think they're on to me. I don't even have a flight. Everyone excited for Mother's Day coming up this Sunday? Some people. So, one thing that young mothers do that really bother me is, don't you think there should be a cutoff for when young mothers should stop saying how old their kid is in months? Like, it gets annoying after a while. Oh, Jane, how are you? How's your son? He got so big. How old is he? He's 26 months. I'm like, oh, wow. She's like, what about your son? I'm like, he's 300 months. I have a calculator for 1 divided by 12. And then later that day, I bumped into another friend. I'm like, oh, Jane, how old's your son? He's 24 months. No, he's 2, bitch. It goes in evenly. So, everyone here enjoy going to the movies? Despite it being $15 now? So, the one thing that bothers me the most in movie theaters is the people who yell at the actors on screen, like, no, don't go in there. And it usually doesn't work, but I have heard certain circumstances where if you reach a certain decibel level, it will influence the actor's decisions on screen. So I was watching the movie Titanic, and someone, ship sailing along, all unsinkable and all, and they show the captain on the screen, and someone's like, look out, there's an iceberg. He's like, oh, okay. And they made it ashore. I'm like, what the fuck? In kindergarten, I thought this had a different ending. So I go to a lot of stand-up comedy myself, and I noticed that a lot of the comedians, even the really good ones, unfortunately, don't have a good way of closing their act. All right, you guys have been great. I gotta run.
All right, that was a Warren class, everyone.